Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
Thanks.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Is this thing on? I said shots to Nick and Dawn. Him on the air radio every Sunday night, man. What up? Red Dragons. Shout out to the boy Nick. I see you, Don. You about to witness the real talk, real talk. Put it in your ear. We reaching for the sky, but we put it in the air. Not a glass jar, but I tell it to you clear. Hammer on the air, we rock. Here's your whip, man. Hammer on the air, here's this mic here for nothing. My demographic pull you box office numbers. Weekend reviews said we number one getters. Now y'all all here, we're number one getters. Turn it on, Nick and Dawn. And I'm like, turn it up, what the fuck, We air it out, wear it out, and we winning. Him on the air, follow back, and we trending. You can't tell me what I bet not be. Don't give a FCK about the FCC. I'm the head for the hellas, voice for the voices. Him on the air Sunday night, and I'm off this.
Well, what is up, entertainment peeps, and welcome back to another new edition of Am I on the Air? I am your humble host, DONMEGA, and welcome. Tonight's episode is called Vision. It's Season 8, Episode 3, and I'd just like to welcome everybody back to the show, bringing you the latest in all entertainment news, TV, music, movies. You know the deal by now. I mean, I just said Season 8, so yeah, you should have been around for the other 8 seasons and 2 episodes. So, jam-packed edition last week, and I just want to thank everybody for the kind words and everybody that tuned in for the last episode, which was iMega Come Right Along. And that episode was almost an hour and a half long. It was a lot to get through. We had 5 movie reviews and all kinds of news to catch up on. This week it's going to be a little bit simpler. We're going to kind of be getting into our groove now of a nice, tighter, shorter show, since we can basically try to bang them out on a weekly basis. So tonight I don't see being super long. There's not an abundance amount of news, but of course we do have about a week's worth of stuff to get through to you. Recording this on Monday, February 10th, 2014. Didn't do an episode last night. Wanted to give last week's show an extra day to breathe. The problem with these shows and doing them on a weekly basis is you don't get a lot of time to really grow your audience and let people find an episode and listen to it, because within a couple days there's a new episode and everybody's always going to move on to the new episode, and then unfortunately other episodes get kind of left in the mix. Left in the dust, really, and it's unfortunate, especially when you spent so much time and hard work and energy going into a show, to have it kind of get overshadowed by the next episode. So I wanted to give last week's a little bit of breathing room. We usually always try to have a new episode up every Sunday night, so I was contemplating doing it last night, and I said, you know what, we'll give it an extra 24 hours here. So here I am on this lovely Monday night. Getting ready to watch some Monday Night Raw here in just a bit after I get done recording this. And, Monday is a good night for television. Almost Human was new tonight. The Following is back on Fox. And, there's not much that's going to be on this week with the Olympics going on. A lot of networks are choosing to just air reruns for the next couple weeks, which is kind of bums me out. Arrow, right now on the CW, Arrow is just having a hell of a season, and I really want to get to the next episode, but unfortunately I gotta wait 3 weeks. And the new animated show Chosen on FXX is really good as well, and another one I gotta wait a couple weeks to get into. So not much new programming this week, so it'll be easier to catch up on some stuff on the DVR, which would be good. So yeah, let's bang through the latest news of the week. And I'm going to start with probably the biggest news, especially if you're a comic book fan. I was very surprised by this news when it broke the other day. Tonight's episode is titled Vision, And for those of you who don't know about Vision, well, let me just say on February 6th, Marvel made a nice little announcement basically in letting us know that Paul Bettany is going to be playing Vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. You don't know Paul Bettany. I'm sure you've seen him before. He's been in a lot of movies actually, but he latest starring type roles would be Legion. He was also in the movie Preacher that came out a couple years ago. Real good actor. For most of you Marvel fans, you do already know this guy because he is the voice of Jarvis in the Iron Man movies and in the first Avengers film. So Paul Bettany is already in the Marvel universe, and then Marvel announced that Paul Bettany himself will play Vision in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, which is going to come out in 2015. This is pretty damn awesome. So I'm stoked on this. First of all, I didn't think that they would really put Vision into the film, especially not in Avengers 2. Once they added Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I was kind of thinking, yeah, that's probably going to be about it. But no, they've added him in, and I find it very interesting and really kind of throws off what I was thinking they were going to do with Age of Ultron. Now, for those of you who don't know, Vision is actually a robot. And in the comics, he's built by Ultron himself, which Ultron is the bad guy in the second Avengers film. He builds Vision, and Vision is kind of like his go-to, robot kind of henchman. And then Vision snaps out of it and basically becomes a good guy and joins the Avengers. I don't think that that's the route that they're going with in this film. You have to think with Paul Bettany being the voice or being Vision, that it's going to have something to do with Tony Stark, and that Tony is going to create Vision. Since he is a robot, he's going to create Vision and give it the Jarvis software, hence like a live action Jarvis. So the thought of that is actually pretty cool, and that was when I had heard they were doing Ultron, and they said that Hank Pym, Ant-Man, wasn't going to do that in the Avengers 2, that Hank Pym wasn't going to be creating Ultron. My first instinct was, okay, then they're going to have Tony Stark create Ultron, which could still be the guess. But I'm wondering now, we're hearing these rumors already where maybe it's like Tony Stark has built Ultron and Vision, and they're kind of like brothers, and then the Ultron, system kind of gets corrupted, and he goes berserk, and Vision has to, try to help take him down. Or does he create Ultron first, and then Ultron goes nuts, so then he builds Vision to help the Avengers fight? There's a lot of different ways this can go, so I really like kind of not knowing, almost to an extent, and just seeing, like, where is this going to go for Avengers 2. But I think this is a great casting choice, and I think it'll be really cool to have Vision kind of be that live-action Jarvis. So, very, very cool. Really the biggest casting news of the week. Paul Bettany playing Vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. So, very, very, very cool. I think he's going to be awesome. And from some of the early word I've gotten, and who knows, I think a lot of it's still rumors at this point, is that his look in the movie is being kind of compared to like the T-1000 in Terminator 2, and it'll have kind of that metal, liquid metal type look. It's also being compared to maybe what like Silver Surfer looked like in the second Fantastic Four movie, which I think would be actually pretty cool. He is supposed to be maintaining the green and yellow coloring. When he flies, the cape will come out, so it looks like they're going to try to keep it as close to the comic as they can, which is unique because Vision is a very standout type character. If you just Google his image, you'll see, he's very unique looking. He kind of has like a red face, and he's got a, yellow kind of cape with a yellow kind of chest piece and yellow almost underwear and boots, and then with the green actual physical suit. So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with it, but no doubt I know Joss Whedon's going to do an awesome job with it. I think a really cool other tie-in with this is the fact that in the comics, Vision ends up marrying the Scarlet Witch, which we all know Scarlet Witch will be in Avengers 2 as well, played by Elizabeth Olsen. So they could be heading that direction as well. So this gives them a little bit of freedom to kind of hook these characters up. So I like it. I like it a lot. So there you go. Paul Bettany, Vision. Let's see here. Well, next, biggest secondary piece of news this week, and I'm a little bummed by this, is it's looking like Will Smith is not going to be coming back for Independence Day 2. And this really upsets me because, Will Smith really made Independence Day for me. He really did. I mean, it was that big breakout role for him coming off of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We know Independence Day 2 is coming. They actually pushed it back a little bit. It's going to come out 2016 now, which is actually pretty cool because it will be the 20th anniversary of the first film. We know Roland Emmerich said that they have two versions of the script ready to go, one with Will Smith and one without. The sad thing is it looks like they might be going with the one without. Now, nothing is confirmed, and I just want to stress that, is that this is basically speculation. These are sources from the studio are saying that Will Smith has, he has told the studio that he is looking like he's not going to do it. He said that he won't be taking part, but he still has not had his final discussion with Roland Emmerich. And apparently Smith has been back and forth with the idea of reprising the role. So, supposedly Bill Pullman and Jeff Goldblum and a couple other characters from the first film are coming back. So, I'm only going to take this statement with kind of a grain of salt until I hear the official word from, the movie studio or Roland Emmerich himself. I have to feel that there's a good chance that Will Smith will come back for this. I love Will Smith, but his star is kind of fading at this point. And after Earth, after that movie came out, I think his star went down even further. And I think going back to a proven franchise like this, that was such a gigantic hit, and celebrating, 20 years later, I think it's a smart business move for him. Whether he really doesn't want to do this movie or not, I think it's a good move on his part to actually just do it. So, Will, if you're listening, like I know you are, I suggest you do Independence Day 2. It's the right thing to do for your fans. So I hope he pulls it out. I hope he does it. But as of this point, they're saying that he has told the studio that he's not going to be doing it. But luckily, he still has some discussions to do with Roland Emmerich to make the final decision. So we'll hope that that final decision is going to be coming very soon. And hopefully, it's better than him saying no. Moving on. This is very interesting. The role of Kyle Reese in the Terminator Genisys reboot is down to two actors. One is Jai Courtney. For those of you that don't know him by name, Jai Courtney was in A Good Day to Die Hard. He was Bruce Willis's son. He was the bad guy in Jack Reacher. He was on Spartacus, and he is actually in I, Frankenstein, the most recent film under his belt. The other runner-up is Boyd Holbrook. I don't know much about this guy. He is on the TV show Hatfields and McCoys. He was also in the movie The Host. I think Jai Courtney is definitely the way to go here. This is a Terminator reboot, and Jai Courtney is a very big action star on the rising. The guy can definitely carry himself, and I think he'd be a great Kyle Reese. For those of you that don't know the character of Kyle Reese, he's the one that gets Sarah Connor pregnant to have John Connor, and that's where the Terminator comes into play, trying to stop that birth and the hookup of Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, which is how it worked in the original Terminator film. If the reboot follows suit, I don't know if it's going to do that. It's being reported that Terminator Genisys is going to end with the story of Skynet's battle with the Resistance that began the James Cameron films. Terminator Genisys is going to be hitting theaters on July 1st, 2015. So we'll keep you posted on that and see who ends up landing the role. I really hope it's Jai, because this boy dude doesn't look like he'd be a good Kyle Reese at all. Moving on, in some other exciting TV news that I'm very excited about, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know a lot of you have given up on this show. I've stuck with it, and I'm glad I have, because the last several episodes have been super, super solid. And we're going to finally see the first official real team-up or crossover, I should say, coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They've advertised a couple times, crossovers like with Thor: The Dark World, and they plan to do another one with Captain America: Winter Soldier when it comes out, but they've been kind of weak. They haven't really been much of crossovers. But that's going to change now because Lady Sif herself, Jamie Alexander, who played Lady Sif in the two Thor movies, she is going to be guest starring on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's going to be on the episode that's going to air on March 11th. The episode's called Yes Man. So that's going to be pretty tight. Basically, they're saying this. Quote, "We've always had our radar up for ways to tie our series into the Marvel films, and bringing in an Asgardian really cements that connection. Sif comes here on a hunting mission sent by Odin to find her arch-enemy Lorelei and bring her back to Asgard. It throws our agents for a loop when they find themselves in a fight alongside this powerful woman from Thor's world." Very, very cool. I love Jamie Alexander, and I love her as Lady Sif, and I think this is the right type of crossover that this show needs. I would love to see Chris Hemsworth show up on this, or Chris Evans, and, who knows what they have up their sleeve. But having an actual star from the Marvel movie universe come on to the TV show is definitely the way to go. They should be trying to get Jeremy Renner or Scarlett Johansson to pop up on here too. They would make the most sense since it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and that's what they are. But I'm very happy to see Lady Sif coming up. Once again, the episode's going to be called Yes Man. It will air on March 11th on ABC Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Alrighty? Very, very cool. Congratulations to Gravity. Gravity is about to come out on Blu-ray, actually, but it has become the third film in history to make more than $100 million just from IMAX alone. That is pretty impressive. So, congratulations to Alfonso Cuarón and Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Gravity was amazing, and I did actually see the movie in IMAX 3D, and this was a movie that I was telling everybody, if you go see this in the theater, see it in IMAX 3D, because this movie was built for the IMAX experience, and they really did themselves justice by doing it that way, and I'm glad to see that audiences really accepted that and went out and watched it in the format that it was meant to be broadcasted in. So congratulations to Gravity. 100 million just in IMAX. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, let's keep it going. Producer Joel Silver is in the works of doing an Escape from New York reboot. This is something that's kind of been in the works for a long time, actually, so I don't know how much I want to hold my breath on this one, because I've been hearing about a Escape from New York reboot for a long time, but it looks like there's movement now, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. From the sound of it, instead of just a straight reboot, this almost sounds like it's going to be a prequel to kind of show you how these things kind of set up. So maybe the second movie will be the official remake of Escape from New York. But I like this character, and Snake is a great, great character played by the great Kurt Russell, and I would love to see a reboot of it and see what they end up coming up with. So good luck to Joel Silver. He's a great producer, and I'm curious to see what he ends up pulling out. Fast and Furious star Lucas Black, who of course was in Tokyo Drift, and he will be in the upcoming Fast and Furious 7, he has joined the new NCIS New Orleans spinoff. We talked about this on the last episode. Scott Bakula is going to lead that one, so congratulations to Lucas Black joining up with NCIS New Orleans. Fred Armisen, who you know usually from SNL and Portlandia and stuff, he is going to lead Seth Meyers' late night band for the new Late Night with Seth Meyers that he's taken over for. I'm spacing his damn name. He's going to be taking over for Jimmy Fallon. Sometimes, being on the spot like this on the show just makes your mind go blank. But yeah, Jimmy Fallon, of course, taking over for the Tonight Show, and Seth Meyers is going to be taking over his old spot, and Fred Armisen going to be leading the band. So it's very cool. He has his own band called G8, and they'll be Seth Meyers' new house band. So congratulations there to Fred. Speaking of Jimmy Fallon as well, good segue here for some of this stuff. Jimmy Fallon, of course, taking over the Tonight Show, and I think it's awesome. I think this is exactly what the Tonight Show needed to really kind of boost its ratings and get with it. Jimmy Fallon's been killing it in his late night spot. So, but we did say goodbye to Jay Leno last week, and his last episode did 14.6 million viewers, which was his highest rated episode since like 92, I think. It was after the Seinfeld series finale. So, very interesting. A big night for Jay Leno, and a great career for Jay. He did awesome on The Tonight Show, and definitely wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors. Moving over to Jimmy Fallon, who will officially take over on Monday, February 17th. So 1 week from tonight, we got his lineup of his opening week's worth of guests. So check this out. His first episode will be Monday, February 17th. His guest will be Will Smith. Maybe he'll ask Will about Independence Day. That'd be cool. Musical guest will be U2. So very big kickoff show on Monday, February 17th. Tuesday, February 18th, he will have Jerry Seinfeld and Kristen Wiig on with musical guest Lady Gaga. On Wednesday, February 19th, he'll have Bradley Cooper with musical guest Tim McGraw. On Thursday, February 20th, he will have the First Lady Michelle Obama and Will Ferrell with musical guest Arcade Fire. Great episode there. And of course, Friday, doesn't shock me here, on Friday, February 21st, his guest will be none other than his best friend, his BFF, Justin Timberlake. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. So a great lineup for Jimmy Fallon's first week as the Tonight Show host. So congratulations once again to Jimmy taking over this spot, and he'll be going live after the Olympics starting on Monday night. So wish him nothing but the best. All right, keeping the news flowing, Channing Tatum has begun writing the Magic Mike sequel. So take that for what it is. I did not see Magic Mike. I will never watch Magic Mike, and I definitely will not be watching Magic Mike 2, but he is writing the sequel. A&E has ordered some more episodes of Wahlburgers. Actually, they've ordered 18 more episodes of Wahlburgers. So this is the freshman reality show about the Wahlberg clan. You know, you got Mark Wahlberg and Donnie Wahlberg, who you should know by now, and their brother. Their brother is a chef, and they opened up a restaurant with him called Wahlburgers, and it's basically about growing the business and all the different locations they want to open. And actually, I've been watching it, and it's only 3 episodes in, but I love it. It's a great show, and the Wahlbergs they have a great family dynamic, and I'm really digging this show. So I'm glad A&E has ordered 18 more episodes of Wahlburgers. Our new Everything Wrong With video this week is Everything Wrong With the Terminator in 6 minutes or less. Very, very cool. We have a new trailer for a movie called The Double. This is a new film starring Jesse Eisenberg, so you can check that out. We got some Jason Statham news, and half of it's good and half of it's not. So do you want the good news first or the bad news? We'll go good news first, okay? Jason Statham is going to return for a sequel to The Mechanic. He is going to be doing The Mechanic 2, and The Mechanic was a cool action flick, and it made some money, so why not? It doesn't, I'm happy Jason Statham kind of, sticks around his go-tos here, and I think The Mechanic's a good one to kind of go back to. So The Mechanic 2 is coming with Jason Statham. What's not coming with Jason Statham, and here comes the bad news, is that they've announced they're going to do 3 more Transporter films. They might be calling them Transporter 4, 5, and 6, but they're actually it's going to be a reboot. They're going to go back, and they're kind of going to be a prequel trilogy of how Jason Statham's character kind of came to be. The unfortunate part about this, Jason Statham is not coming back. Jason Statham will take no part in the reboot, and he has been replaced with actor Ed Skrein, who is most known for Game of Thrones. So it's Ed, S-K-R-E-I-N, Ed Skrein from Game of Thrones. He'll be replacing Jason Statham and taking over that role in the Transporter reboot. This is just silly to me. You know, Jason Statham did 3 Transporter films, and for the most part, they're all pretty good. I didn't really care for the third one very much, but they are what they are. Doing a reboot just seems really silly because there's no need for a reboot to this series. There's already going to be a TV show that's going to be on TNT, I believe. So it's like with a TV show, why do we need to do 3 more movies? And then to not even involve Jason Statham? I mean, if Jason Statham, who loves to do a lot of movies, is like, I'm not coming back for this, then you should just leave it alone. So, unfortunately, they're not. I'm sure they're thinking they can make a quick buck with this new dude, and I don't really have interest with anybody but Jason Statham. He's the transporter. You don't go and replace that. So even though it's a prequel and I'd like to kind of see the origins of that character, I don't want to see it with a different actor. So it's a lose-lose for me. Keeping on with some more casting news, Fox has officially announced that Ben McKenzie, who is on Southland, he was also in the OC, he is going to be joining the new TV show Gotham, and he will be playing Commissioner Gordon. So that's very cool. That's what this show is going to be all about. It's about the early times of James Gordon. Before he became the commissioner. For those of you that don't know, Fox is going to be doing this new show called Gotham, where they're trying to jump on the bandwagon of like Arrow and Agents of Shield. Each network wants their own little comic book, go-to now, and they've chosen Gotham, where basically this sort of revolve around Gotham City. In the Batman universe, but this is before Batman. There will be a young Bruce Wayne, going to be like 11, 12 years old type of Bruce Wayne in it. There are supposed to be some Batman villains in the TV show, but it's going to center around like the police stories of the Gotham PD, of course, James Gordon before he becomes commissioner. So I think it's a pretty good casting. I think he'll do a good job. So and I can see him kind of being a young Gordon. So I think it's a good casting move. So once again, Ben McKenzie is Gordon in the new Gotham TV show that'll be coming on Fox next year. We also have the new Red Band trailer for Sabotage. If you're 18 and over, I highly recommend you check out this new Red Band trailer. It's intense. It's bloody. It's violent. It's got cussing. I mean, this movie looks like it's gonna be crazy. Of course, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh man, he's got Sam Worthington in there. He's got Joe Manganiello. He's got Terrence Howard. It's got a great cast. And I was already sold on this movie with the Green Band trailer. This Red Band one put me over the edge. I am dying to see this movie now. So check out that Red Band trailer. I really hope. Arnold's had a struggle since returning to acting. The Last Stand bombed and Escape Plan bombed, and he's not doing so hot in his return. But they were good movies, just nobody's supporting them. So I really hope Sabotage finds an audience, because this is from the guy that did End of Watch, and I think this is going to be a really good movie, and I hope people, will gravitate towards that. Anne Hathaway is in talks to replace Reese Witherspoon in The Intern. This is interesting. I'll take this for now. The Intern is going to be a new workplace comedy that's going to basically be revolving around, Anne Hathaway's in talks now. Basically, her character, the place she works at, ends up deciding to do interns with elderly people as kind of like just a nice thing to do, public service. And Robert De Niro is the intern for Anne Hathaway's character. It sounds kind of like a funny concept. Reese Witherspoon would have been pretty good in this, but I actually prefer Anne Hathaway, and I would like to see what she would do with this. I can see her and De Niro actually being pretty cool. So, yeah, I like it. In some sad news for me, Fox has decided to cancel The X Factor. So after 3 seasons, The X Factor will be going away. Supposedly now, it has been a couple days since this news broke, and I guess the reasoning behind it now is that Simon was not going to come back to the US version. He said he was done, and he was going to go back to do the UK version, which films around the same time as the US version does. So he was going to leave the US version, just kind of stay on as a producer. And Fox really had no interest in keeping the show going without Cowell's involvement. And you can't blame him. I mean, he was definitely the selling tool for X Factor. Demi Lovato had already stated that she wasn't going to come back either. So it's unfortunate. I thought the third season with Simon Lovato, Kelly from Destiny's Child, and God, I'm spacing her name now. Paulina Rubio. I thought they were a good lineup together. I could have done without Paulina, but if they would have done another season with like Simon, Demi, and Kelly, that would have been really cool. But I guess they needed 4 judges because they have the 4 different categories, like the groups, the boys, the girls, and the over 25s. I liked X Factor. You know, say what you will about these singing competition shows. X Factor, I thought, was just exciting. You know, Idol is kind of along the wayside. It's going to be wrapping up. The Voice is starting to get kind of old now. I liked X Factor, and I thought this season was the smoothest that they've done yet. And I don't know. I saw a lot of potential for a 4th season, so I'm a little bummed. So I just can't wait to see what Simon does next. He's got to have another plan up his sleeve to do something for us here in the U.S. So come on, Simon. We need you, Mr. Cowell, back on our TV screens. Alrighty. Keeping it rocking and rolling. Michael J. Fox is going to be returning to The Good Wife. So, and for those of you wondering, oh, he's going to go back to The Good Wife, but he's got his own TV show. Unfortunately, he doesn't anymore. The Michael J. Fox show that's on NBC has been yanked by NBC and taken off the schedule. It has been canceled, and, it's a little bit of a bummer. I liked the show. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was cute, and it was enough to keep watching each week. So, a little bummed for the Michael J. Fox show not being around anymore. It was his, big comeback to TV. It had really good ratings in the beginning and just kind of faltered. So, but good to see Michael is going to stick around. He's not going to get beat down by this news and just vanish. He will be returning to his role in The Good Wife. So, keep an eye out for him on the CBS drama, as he'll be a big part of the later half of the 5th season. Jay Baruchel, who probably is best well known now for This Is the End with Seth Rogen, he is going to star in a new FX comedy pilot produced by Lorne Michaels. So the show is going to be called Man Seeking Women. So I'll check it out. That's for sure, because I like Jay. I think he's a funny dude, and I'll be interested to see what he ends up doing with this new show, especially on FX, because they can get away with just a little bit more. AMC is going back into the TV business with Gene Simmons. Of course, AMC hosted Gene Simmons' Family Jewels for, I think, 7 or 8 seasons. They're going to be doing a new TV show with Gene where it will revolve around the arena football team that KISS is sponsoring. So that'll be interesting. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, of course, from KISS. They will be, the TV show will revolve around their arena football league. Alrighty. So that'll be coming soon on AMC. I know a lot of people were excited for this news. We talked about Elizabeth Banks is going to be directing and making her directorial debut with Pitch Perfect 2. Just a couple days ago, it was announced that Anna Kendrick and Rebel Wilson have closed their deals and they will be returning to Pitch Perfect 2. This is big news for all the fans of Pitch Perfect because they're the 2 main stars of it. I mean, Anna Kendrick, of course, the main star of Pitch Perfect, and Rebel Wilson, this was really kind of her breakout role. She had a lot of little roles on other movies and TV shows and stuff, but this really was the kind of the standout thing for her. So this is a big, big deal for them to lock down Anna Kendrick and Rebel Wilson both. So they will be returning for Pitch Perfect 2. Seth Rogen and his writing partner, Evan Goldberg, they're going to be adapting the graphic novel Preacher for AMC, and they'll be doing a Preacher TV show on the AMC channel. This is hoping to grab in like the Walking Dead demographic. And I don't know much about this graphic novel, but it's supposed to be, kind of a dark, comic-y type. When I say comic-y, I mean like comic booky, not like it's funny, but just like this dark kind of brooding type of character. It's a Vertigo comic. It's very just kind of creepy. I think this is going to be tight, and I think AMC placing this around like Walking Dead somewhere will make for a surefire hit. So, and I like that Seth Rogen's involved. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg have a great chemistry, and they write a lot of great stuff. And it's kind of weird because this isn't going to be a comedy, but I think they'll do a great job with this. They're big fans of Preacher, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. Paul Walker's last film that he made before passing away is a movie called Brick Mansions. Brick Mansions is a English language remake of the French action movie District B13. It's been given an official release date. It will open everywhere on April 25th. So that's very cool. I'm glad to see Paul Walker's last film, last completed film. I shouldn't say last film because he will still be in Fast 7. But this was his last fully completed film before passing away, is Brick Mansions, once again in theaters on April 25th. An interesting story this week was how Johnny Depp made $1 million in a week. And it's talking about how these movie stars are doing a new thing called boarding, I believe. Let me pull up my information here. I want to make sure I get this right. Yes, it's called boarding. It's a new cost-effective business scheme that film stars call boarding scenes, where A-list workers work on a compressed schedule, studios save money, and everyone keeps the illusion of his or her quote. They're saying this has become a new hot thing for movie stars, where basically they come in and they make a quick buck, and the movie studio films all their stuff within a couple days, so they don't have to sit around a set for 2 months. Basically, the practice of boarding is where a star parachutes into a high-profile movie for a few days or a few weeks, and all of his or her scenes are blocked out for a quick shoot. Basically, producers are increasingly under pressure now to keep salaried stars in check. Boarding often means scoring an A-lister without having to pay his or her full quote. Big actors have become more willing to take non-starring roles as long as they can be whisked in and out, leaving time for more movies. For instance, Johnny Depp slashed his $20 million quote to appear in Disney's upcoming musical Into the Woods. He was boarded in for a week on the London set and paid $1 million, according to sources. Given the risky nature of musicals, the film needed to be made on a budget of about $40 million, and Depp's move, a favor to Disney and Helmer Rob Marshall, who directed him in the Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, allowed the film to be greenlit. It also allows the actor's representatives to maintain his quote intact. But boarding also has its downside, where producers often find themselves tearing their hair out trying to fit an A-list widget into a 1,000-part machine. Scheduling is a complicated process and more art than science. It can hurt a project when you're at the mercy of getting someone in and out in 10 days. Boarding adds a real tyranny to the equation. Many stars have become popular drop-in players. Bruce Willis has morphed into the poster boy for paycheck-driven boarding. He was boarded in for 2012's The Expendables 2, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he also was boarded in for 2013's G.I. Joe Retaliation. Although Willis's role in G.I. Joe could be described as an extended cameo, since he loomed front and center in key art for the film, which grossed more than $375 million worldwide. Everyone knows that Bruce Willis is on sale for $1 million a day. He adds a value to an international market. So when you know he has a day rate like that, if you want to get him in your movie, you could fly him in for a day, shoot a couple scenes, and give him $1 million. He's on his way. Sometimes, though, it doesn't work out. We've talked about this on a episode way in the back when they started filming Expendables 3, that when they wanted Bruce Willis back, they offered him $3 million for 4 days, and he turned it down, saying, nope, I get $1 million a day, I want $4 million. They said no, and then he was replaced by Harrison Ford. Basically, like John Malkovich, Gary Oldman, they say, are frequently onboarded for short stints in films like 2012's Lawless, which Gary Oldman did 4 days worth of work as a ruthless mobster. Martin Scorsese boarded in Jack Nicholson for his Best Picture Oscar-winning movie The Departed. And And they said that sometimes, it just causes such a problem. Whereas a source was saying during filming of The Departed, Jack Nicholson's rep would hover over and begin pointing to his watch when the actor's contractual number of hours was reached. Boarding is basically a way of, or lack of a better word, mailing it in, which is, pretty funny. Meryl Streep was boarded in for 2 weeks to work on the South African set of Philip Noyce's upcoming sci-fi film, The Giver. Let's see, what else do we got here? Kate Winslet was boarded in to do some work on Divergent. And, it's a very interesting concept, is this boarding thing, but you're seeing it more and more and more, and that's why you see guys sometimes pop up in like these straight-to-video movies and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people say, like, man, how do they have time to do all these movies? That's because they were boarded in and they film other scenes in a week and they move on to the next film. So it's a very interesting concept, to say the least. Let's see what we got next. We have another Everything Wrong With. We got RoboCop in 7 minutes or less. Awesome, awesome. In preparation for RoboCop hitting theaters this week. The Rock's new movie, San Andreas, that's going to be coming out in 2015. They've added Alexandra Daddario to San Andreas. She'll actually be playing his daughter. If you have not seen Alexandra Daddario, do yourself a favor and look her up. She was in the Percy Jackson films. Then she did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot that came out last year, and she was gorgeous in that. She's actually now on the new TV show True Detective on HBO. And if you watch episode 2 of True Detective, you'll see why she is the greatest thing about that show. I'll just leave it at that. But she's going to be joining The Rock's new movie, San Andreas, so that's a very cool casting choice. Showtime's Ray Donovan has added Hank Azaria for season 2. That's a great move right there. Love Hank. Fantastic Four is getting ready to do its new reboot film, and they're trying to still narrow down who's going to be taking on some roles there. They just did some screen tests with Emmy Rossum, Kate Mara, and Miles Teller. So those 3 actors have all done screen tests for the film. Love Emmy Rossum. She's gorgeous. She's on what's that Showtime show? I don't know. One of the Showtime shows. I don't watch it, but she gets naked on that quite often, and she's pretty hot. Kate Mara is okay. Miles Teller, I know he's been reading for Mr. Fantastic. He's an okay actor, but I feel like he's just way too young. I feel like they're going really young for this cast, so I don't know what they're doing with the Fantastic Four reboot. We will see. I do like this casting news, though, because Evangeline Lilly. She's in talks to join Ant-Man, and I do like that. Supposedly, she's going to be the love interest for Paul Rudd's character, and she'll be the daughter of Michael Douglas's character. So, but that's all we know. We don't. She could end up being a new version of Wasp. She could be a hero too, or she might just be the love interest. Either way, she'd be a great addition to Ant-Man. So, we do now know that there is a sequel coming to Ride Along. So no shocker there. Ride Along is on the way. And that's awesome, because Ride Along was hilarious. The directors and everybody behind Captain America 2 says that critical events will be set in motion that will lead to the Avengers Age of Ultron, which I do like this. So basically Captain America 2 will kind of lead into Age of Ultron. I like it. A lot of people are saying, well, shouldn't that be Guardians of the Galaxy? Not really, because from what we know, Guardians of the Galaxy is going to have nothing to do with Avengers 2. Obviously, Captain America does. So it makes more sense that Captain America would be the film to tie into Avengers 2. So I do like that there's going to be a nice crossover doorway for that, because that's what Marvel does. Marvel does it best. Some sad news for Psych fans out there. I know my good friend D-Ray for Life on Twitter. He is a big Psych fan. Psych has announced it's going to end after 8 seasons. So, yep, this current 8th season that's running right now, when it's done, it will become the series finale. Oh, I never got into Psych, but it looked like a funny show, and everybody I know that watches it loves it. So this is it's some sad news for Psych fans. And our last piece of news here, wrapping things up, is going to be four people were arrested in connection to Philip Seymour Hoffman's case. So, dealing with all the heroin and everything that came out of that situation. It's still a very sad situation. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but four people have already been arrested in conjunction to that deal. Alrighty. So that, my friends, is actually going to wrap up the news. See how fast we can get through it when we actually just blaze on through, and we keep it within a week's worth of stuff. No problem there. All right. Before we get to the movie report, let me run down the music stuff. We haven't done this in several weeks, so let's get you up to date in what's going on in the world of music real quick. Of course, our top 10 albums. On the album charts, number 10 is Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. Number 9 is Prism by Katy Perry. Number 8 is Imagine Dragons with Night Visions. Number 7 is Bruno Mars with Unorthodox Jukebox. Number 6 is Casting Crowns with Thrive. Number 5 is Beyonce with Beyonce. Number 4 is Of Mice and Men with Restoring Force. Number 3 is Pure Heroine by Lorde. Number 2 is the 2014 Grammy nominees album. And the number 1 album is the soundtrack to Frozen. Going on over to the singles, we're going to have a lord of a good time, because Lorde is number 10 with the song Team. And then at number 9, She's Here Again with Royals. Number 8 is Pharrell Williams with Happy. Number 7 is A Great Big World and Christina Aguilera with Say Something. Number 6 is Let Her Go by Passenger. Number 5 is Counting Stars by One Republic. Number 4 is Talk Dirty by Jason Derulo featuring 2 Chainz. Number 3 is Timber with Pitbull featuring Kesha. Number 2 is Beyonce featuring Jay-Z with Drunken Love. And the number 1 song in America is Katy Perry featuring Juicy J with Dark Horse. And I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I think Dark Horse is a pretty damn catchy song. So Katy Perry knows how to reel me in. Dark Horse is a tight song. All right, my friends, let's kick it on over and wrap it up with the movie stuff. Now, tonight there will be no movie reviews, which is actually a shocker because I always have a movie review for you guys. If I had to give a movie review of the week, I actually did just see the cult. I think it's going to become a cult classic. It's the new B kind of thriller. It's called Nurse. Nurse was a limited release in theaters. It was actually Nurse 3D in theaters, and which is kind of funny because when you watch it, not in 3D, it has those kind of cheesy death scenes in it where you could tell it was made for 3D and it just looks so stupid. But it's basically a little thriller film where it's about these nurses at this hospital, and one takes another one under her wing, and she ends up kind of fatal attraction liking her, but she doesn't like her, but her little understudy doesn't like her back in that same way. So then she gets kind of psycho and she starts killing people, and she wants her all to herself, and it's kind of by the numbers kind of thriller. But you know what? It was actually kind of fun. I could see how this is going to become a little kind of cult thriller. And there's a lot of nudity, and it's definitely a hard rated R and a lot of blood, and it was interesting. So check out Nurse when you get a chance if you want to see that. I'm not even going to give it a star scale. It was just, our at-home movie of the week this week. I will, though, have a movie review on the next episode for RoboCop, that's for sure. Gonna see RoboCop actually on Wednesday in IMAX 3D, so I'll have the full review there for the RoboCop reboot. And I should also have a review for the Lego movie. So, laugh all you want. That movie's got a 98% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's loving the Lego movie because everything is awesome. So look for reviews of RoboCop and Lego Movie on the next episode. On DVD and Blu-ray tomorrow, actually, February 11th, Ender's Game, The Counselor, All Is Lost, Best Man Holiday, Diana, and Blue is the Warmest Color. Out of those movies, I've only seen Ender's Game, and that was actually a really good film. I think I gave it 4 stars out of 5. So, dying to see The Counselor, actually have it set to go. So, we'll hopefully see that soon and see what that's all about, even though I'm not expecting much because it got ripped apart by critics. In theaters this week, I just talked about RoboCop. RoboCop actually hits theaters on Wednesday, February 12th. It'll be the solo movie released on Wednesday. And then on Friday, Valentine's Day, you, of course, get your obligatory, you know, Valentine's Day romantic comedy type movies. We got 3 of them. You got About Last Night, which is the Kevin Hart film, which is the remake. You have Winter's Tale with Colin Farrell, and Endless Love. Endless Love looks horrible. I don't even know how this movie got a theatrical release. It's going to bomb so bad. I will be very shocked if Endless Love does not bomb. Winter's Tale could do okay. I think About Last Night will do the best out of the 3 because it has Kevin Hart and it has the dude from Almost Human, and it's got a decent cast. But hopefully RoboCop does really good, because that's what I'm stoked about. RoboCop, the only thing that hurts me on RoboCop is just the fact that it's PG-13. I cannot believe that they did a RoboCop reboot in PG-13. The original is one of the most violent films of all time. It is a hard rated R film that actually has an NC-17 cut. So I don't know how they got it to PG-13. But I'm still excited. So, RoboCop on Wednesday, About Last Night, Winter's Tale, and Endless Love on Friday. And let's do the box office. Coming in number 10 is Labor Day with 3.2 million. Number 9 is Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit with 3.6 million. Number 8 is The Nut Job with 3.8 million. Number 7 is The Vampire Academy. That's one of the new releases this week. It only made 4.1 million, so another bomb for another book adaptation for the teens. It's starting to become a trend here. Vampire Academy, number 7. Number 6 is Lone Survivor with 5.3 million. Number 5 is That Awkward Moment with 5.5 million. Number 4 is Frozen with 6.9 million. Number 3 is Ride Along with 9.4 million. Number 2 is another debut. It was The Monuments Men with a very nice debut of $22.7 million. That's the new George Clooney, Matt Damon film. Monuments Men was supposed to come out around Christmas and ended up getting pushed back because George Clooney also directed it, said it wasn't ready to go yet, still had some more work to do in post-production. But that's a nice debut for a February film. The reviews have not been so hot for Monuments Men, but people are going out and supporting it. So $22.7 million debut. And of course, number 1, no shocker here. I just talked about how I should have a review for this on the next episode. It's the Lego Movie. And the Lego Movie smashed records, becoming the second biggest film ever in a February release. It made $69.1 million. Massive, man. Almost 70 million. Nobody really expected this film to really hit over 50. And then by Saturday, they were like, maybe 60. It made almost $70 million. So the word of mouth is already getting spread. It's been nothing but positivity for the Lego Movie. They're already working on the sequel. The sequel's been greenlit. You know how it goes in Hollywood, man. So the Lego Movie, $69.1 million to be the new number 1 film. I'm sure it'll be number 1 again next weekend, even though we got 4 new movies coming out. So congratulations to the Lego Movie. And that, my friends, is going to do it. So I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, short and sweet, to the point. About 47 minutes here tonight, keeping you up to date in the latest news of entertainment. Shout out, of course, to the affiliates. RedDragonsRadio.com is where you can listen to the show in syndication. Please follow on Twitter at Red Dragons Radio. The Excess Radio Network, follow on Twitter at Excess Radio, and our friends over at Ultimate Sports Talk. Yes, I know we're not sports, but they're very kind to stream us in syndication over on the Ultimate Sports Talk Network. So their website is ultimatesportstalk.com, and you can follow them on Twitter at ULT Sports Talk. And of course, us let me fill you in on us. Now, all the news that I read to you guys and everything comes from our Twitter and our Facebook page. So please give us a like on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Am I on the Air. Give us a like because you will always be up to date in all the latest news, movie trailers, videos, posters, everything. It's all right there on the Facebook page. There's no reason not to give us a like. And of course, Twitter. Twitter.com/Am I on the Air is where you can go to follow us. And all the breaking news is right there on Twitter. We actually have more news on Twitter than we do on the Facebook page. Now, the Facebook page we kind of streamlined to the more important articles. Twitter, we really post all the news that we get, so you're always up to date with everything. You know, I try to always include news across the board for everything that anyone could really be into. I don't want it to be subjective. I don't only report the news that I like. It's really about getting you the latest news for the most popular things in pop culture. So if you're on Twitter, just go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Am I on the Air, so you always will be up to date. I suggest making a list, creating a little separate feed for Am I on the Air so it doesn't get lost in your timeline. That way you can always spot all the latest news. Even if you just check it like once a day, just kind of flip through in the middle of the day and just be up to date on all the news. Why not? And of course, AmIOnTheAir.com is the official webpage. It's where you can see the movie reviews, listen to the episodes. Everything's right there on AmIOnTheAir.com. Please follow me on Twitter. I am your host, DONMEGA. You know the deal. You can follow me on Twitter at DXDONMEGA. Alrighty, I am always there chatting along on the Twitter world. And I think that does it. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on this ride. Tonight's episode, Vision, in the books. And like I said, we'll be back probably Sunday night with the next episode where we'll have reviews of RoboCop IMAX 3D and the Lego Movie. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Spread the word to your friends and family because we can use it, There's no need not to. And we'll catch you on the next exciting edition of Am I on the Air? Peace. Red Dragon!